Bonjour everyone and welcome back to the Lost Indian channel. If you're new here, my name is Gaurav and I'm a business school professor based in France. But before I was a professor, I was actually a student just like all of you, and I think one of the biggest challenges I faced even before coming to France or even after coming to France was being able to find the right information from a trusted and experienced source about various things such as the education system in France or the employment system in France, or things like, okay, what are the different types of contracts, what are the different types of taxes, what is an alternance or apprenticeship as we call it, and how can I find one? 6 years later, I still believe that this problem exists to an extent for people who are planning to study in France and for people who are currently studying in France. And it is for that reason today I'm actually very excited to tell you that I've collabed with the famous Dr. Marcel Saucet. Dr. Marcel Saucet has kindly offered to answer any and all questions any of you, all international students who are planning to study in France or who are currently living in France, about the education system, about finding jobs, about what are the different types of contracts, what are the different types of taxes, what is the difference between MS and MSc, how to find accommodation, what are the processes, what are the legal, anything and everything about France, because he actually has the experience in all of these things. Now, all of you must be thinking, who is this Dr. Marcel Saucet? Well, Dr. Marcel Saucet is an award-winning author. He's a business school professor who has taught at many business schools and universities around the world, like the Harvard Business School. He has also written a lot of articles for the Harvard Business Review. He's also an entrepreneur who's the founder of the LCA Group, which is based in Dubai, San Diego, Paris, and has an office in China. He's also the director of the world's first doctorate of business administration program specializing in luxury, which is created in partnership with the ESGCI Business School and the University of San Diego, which is based in California. You can find the links to all his socials down below, his website and all of his addresses. But if you want to learn more about Dr. Marcel Saucet, the best way to do it is actually just Google Dr. Marcel Saucet. If you have a question that you would like me to ask Dr. Marcel Saucet about studying in France, working in France, or even living in France, there's a link down below where if you click on it, you can actually leave your question and I shall ask Dr. Marcel Saucet these questions in future videos. We should be posting 3 times a week, so I would recommend that you actually subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out a lot of valuable information about studying, working, and living in France. I think another question which most of us have is, but you rightly mentioned that there are two systems, which is the public universities and which is the private institutions. And so when we are looking for courses online, we come across like words like grande école, public university, business schools, and so we don't understand the difference between them. And you mentioned not one is better than the other, but what would be the difference between them?
Okay, so let's say that traditionally universities are more for researchers and more for people who want to have at the end of the system in PhDs some academic or technical ambitions, you know. So for these people, university is a really good. I went to the university by myself, so it's a good thing, but I wanted to become a researcher at the university. I wanted to become a professor, so it's a specific way. On the other side, you have the schools, the private schools. So you can have the engineering school, the business schools, the architecture schools, etc., etc. But you can have also architecture degrees in the public university, okay, no worries. But it's the private system, okay? But all these systems, the two systems, public, private and public, belong to the Minister of the National Education. So they handle everything. And in the case of the schools, of the private schools, you have a specific ranking which ranks super elite school, which is named La Conférence des Grandes Écoles, conference of the big school, of the high schools, okay? But high school, be careful, it's not the high school when you're 15 or 16 years old. It's really Grande École, so the conference of Grande École. For example, HEI or ISEN engineering school is a grande école, but it's an engineering school, but it's a grande école, okay? And you can have other business school who are private and which belong to this system of conference of grande école. Okay. A name also CGE. It's the famous concept CGE. It's like, you know, the international rankings, Shanghai ranking, Financial Times ranking for MBAs, Dubai ranking for DDA, doctorate programs, Conférence des Grandes Écoles, etc., etc.
Perfect. And so just to summarize, If someone mentions their Grand École, they would technically be a part of the CG, the conference, the Grand École.
Yeah.
All right,
If
that's
it's en école, uh, it depends because some really good guys in marketing, you know, use Grand École and add another term. So it doesn't mean this, but just check the logo of Conférence des Grandes Écoles and you will see it. Okay. But
all
it
right.
doesn't mean that because you are not a part of Conférence des Grandes Écoles, you're a bad school. Why? Because it's just a kind of club. It's better. Of course, it's always better, but you have really big schools and great schools who decided to not belong to international rankings for many reasons. You know, the rankings, it's always a good question of politics and this kind of stuff. So some schools prefer to be outside of the rankings and be really good schools.